Oh, hi.
Hi.
I'm Christina Ochoa.
I'm Karen, and this is
Subtitles in Spanglish.
nice to see you again, and nice to meet some of you.
Yeah, and for our Spanish-speaking audiences, si nos queréis ver en el podcast en español o en YouTube, podéis hacerlo los lunes y los jueves es en inglés, así que bueno, podéis elegir y aquí estamos para los angloparlantes. In English. If you want to practice your Spanish by some chance, then just tune in on Mondays.
You should think about the access to an entire other continent, Spain as
well.
Several
continents, yeah, technically a continent and a couple countries.
And yeah.
That was it.
It also helps with Italian. So anyway.
So today's episode is actually some of your questions.
Yay,
which we're excited about. Josh. I don't know what I was thinking about.
Jeff, go ahead, Jeff.
Our producer, Jess.
Ika.
I was thinking about our other text chain, which
that was another one.
But yeah, I has actually pulled a couple of questions from our social media and your comments, and
we're
ready for this.
So
I
here
just
we
need
go.
some caffeine, you guys. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
All right, the first one, I don't know her name, so it's just her Instagram handle.
Got it.
I think her name is Misty. It's like misty.tv.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
So, Misty, this is you. She
She
is a little bit sad because she says, no more Twitch streams, ?
That's right.
Ah.
Yeah, it was, the twitching was getting...
Well, I still may Twitch for World of Warcraft.
Oh.
Because I have continued to play it. And maybe some Dungeons and Dragons. But as far as our podcasts on Twitch, it was just harder to live stream because we didn't have the setup in a way where we can also be watching and doing the comments and live streaming, and taking the podcast from the Twitch stream became a little difficult to do because we'd have both the video interaction. So maybe we'll do a special Twitch stream.
That could be cool.
Or, something like that. But I think combining the two was becoming tricky.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. We miss our Twitch family
Yeah.
group.
It was fun.
Squad.
Yeah. It live, so that
Twitchers.
was kind of cool.
Twitchers?
Yeah, Twitchers, maybe.
All right, this one is from Isabel R. And she says, Karen, have you ever wanted to be an actor? Why or why not?
Ooh.
Have I ever wanted to be... I've told Christina on multiple occasions I want her to get cast in a period drama so I could be like some bitch in the background in an amazing outfit. I'd love that.
It's true. She has said that.
Right. But I don't know if it's for me. I don't know. I haven't tried, and I also feel like when I have helped you read some lines, I hear you and I'm like, wow, she sounds so natural, and I think to myself, I do not.
Well, I think I will say this. Karen has been an amazing reader at times when she's helped me read.
Not fishing for compliments.
And no, she's not. She really isn't, because she feels like she's out of her depth, but it's something that I think she has all of the tools and the equipment. If she ever wanted to try acting and train and learn, I think she has everything she wanted to in order to do it. And this is also getting her more comfortable with the camera here and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's weird.
So,
maybe I'll be your stand-in. We're the same height.
Yeah, we are.
I'll just get some more.
We're not quite the same. Grabbing your boobs.
I patted them.
No, we're not the same coloring.
No, but wigs and makeup, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what do they really need. Do they need the same?
They tend to get people that are the same skin color. Yeah. For the DP, because it's really for that. And then they'll put a wig. Normally they get people who are already the same color, but if they need to put a wig, they will.
Oh.
And then they give you this kind of baggy t-shirt of whatever color the outfit is. Oh. My outfit. So wardrobe normally has a color sample t-shirt that they give our stand-ins.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That seems easy.
It's fine. I will say I think it feels like the kind of job that I constantly try and talk to my stand-ins, or I do my own stand-in work, just because it feels you just have to stand there and stare in silence because you can't talk. And at the other person in the scene, which, by the way, even us actors, we never do because that's awkward. We don't stare at each other and just
Okay. Yeah, I got it. Yep. I feel like.
Anyway, but so it's like
Yeah.
it's pretty awkward. They do a fantastic job because they're so kind and sweet and generous with their time, and they don't complain, and they're just
So you do have to be still, and you also have to be quiet.
yes, because they're pulling focus. They're looking at lights.
Can you listen
they
to like
are,
a podcast?
Nope. Yeah, and you have to be always at the ready.
Okay.
So it's a tricky job.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe yes, I will become an actress. I'll say one line and then go back to my trailer and listen to a podcast.
Our podcast.
Yeah, or maybe I could like do that thing where you just like dramatically slap someone and then that's it.
I feel like you wanted to do that, but not in acting. Just
I
in
want to
life.
flip a table.
Like you just.
I
in
wanna
life,
flip a
You're
table.
like, I just want to walk in and just like slap this person and walk away.
But then it's totally justified and everybody claps after.
Right,
As
right.
opposed to just like, out of the blue slapping a nice person.
You could be a one-woman show and just do that and grab someone from the audience, a volunteer, and just slap. And then, yeah.
A girl can dream. What's the next question?
On a similar note, Carlos Carrera from YouTube wants to know, how is pilot season during the pandemic with auditions? Since everything is through Zoom, are they still doing chemistry tests and performing for producers?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just the self-tape and then you get one Zoom callback with everyone there?
So it's per production basis, I will say. Every production and every job is different. Also, TV and film are different. Right now, the networks have a lot more of a strict kind of protocol in place, just because they have to. And so most of those auditions and callbacks and stuff are normally the executives. If you're testing, it's like the executives there, the casting director or the reader. And then they just have, sorry, I'm just looking at, Karen's writing notes as I'm talking, and yeah, but they kind of change depending. They are doing chemistry reads a lot of the time, and from what I know, I have a lot of friends who are auditioning a lot more than I am, just because of work, but what they're saying is that most of the time it's a self-tape. You might get some notes back. You normally don't get a callback second tape. You will get a Zoom for a callback if they really want to give you notes. But a lot of the time they're just casting based off of tape. And they're just circulating the tapes. So it's in your best interest to always work as hard as you can to do a self-tape well. Yeah. Karen's laughing at me because I hate them.
No, but you brought up an interesting point about it, which is like, when you're working with everybody's different. Some people love it, right? They can pick their own. They're like, this is my best, and send it in. And in your experience, and some other people too, they've said, well, I like working with a casting director, and then I can adjust my performance, and, it's not a one and done.
Yeah.
And, I guess advantages to both, depending.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people love being able to monitor, pick takes, do it a million times if need be. They feel like they get as many rehearsals as they want, and they like the control, because this job very much is out of our control in so many ways. Yeah. So they like that. I think, to me, I do not enjoy that process at all, and I will fight tooth and nail to avoid self-tapes at all costs, to the detriment of my own career, because of course I don't self-tape for a lot of things that, I'm sure are fantastic, and I would like to read for them. I just don't like self-taping. Yeah. And, it's a you pick and choose. Yeah. But when it comes to COVID, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Casting directors, a lot of them, even ones that I've become friends with over the years and stuff, they're saying they're not going to rent a space again. There really is no need for them to go back to having casting offices and live reads a lot of the time.
Wow.
When they can just on their own time and very conveniently. Look, realistically, they're outsourcing a lot of their job. Yeah. To the actors themselves. But you think there's not actors
like that in-person component? Like they want a vibe check? Like a real life vibe check?
I don't think they need that. You can do that with a Zoom call if they're very interested in you for your performance. But I don't think a lot of actors get that benefit, especially if they're starting out. And if they have a body of work, then the vibe check is unnecessary. True. So it kind of, I don't know. It's been very tricky. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when there are no COVID protocols in place. Yeah. What goes back and what doesn't. But it does not look like things are going to return to how they were when it comes to auditions. So, I mean, yeah, I would say if you have good readers and people that you trust, whether it's your coach, whether it's good partners or somebody that can read with you, then I would just advocate for trying to make those tapes. If you decide to tape, make them the best you can. Make bold choices, make sure they look good, they sound good. You know, I think that's what I would say.
And we're back.
We are back.
Oh,
it's an ASMR episode.
The delicious.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. And I am also stuttering. All right. Well, yeah. Next.
Yes.
Okay, Katerina would like to know, Christina, would you ever move back to Spain? And Karen, would you ever live in Argentina long term?
Long term.
Long term for technically both of you.
Yeah. I mean, I was there for 9 months once. That was long. That's a nice long stretch, but I don't think it's too unstable.
Yeah, I would
Spain,
100%
at least,
absolutely move back to Spain. I mean, given my life, I never know where I'm going to end up.
Right.
So it kind of depends on work. But if I can continue to work, I would love to raise a family eventually near my family.
Yeah.
And in Spain, or at least spend a couple of years, you know, working as an adult there and living there. Because, like, I left, you know, after studying, but as an adult, I barely lived there. I went to the conservatory. I was still, like, a student.
Yeah.
You know, so I just go back for holidays, and yeah, I'd love that.
I mean, I'd say as an alternative to Spain, LA is great, just weather-wise and everything. You get a lot of the same things.
Yeah, LA is not my home.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to imagine life outside of LA, not because there aren't amazing things out there.
Karen, will you come live in Spain with me when I move there for a while so we can continue doing this? And then that way we will guilt trip Jess to also come and live in Spain for a few years.
And then everyone lives in Spain.
And then we all live in Spain, and then our audience
She'll
will
learn
come
the
visit.
Spanish
Exactly.
with the wrong accent, but that's okay.
The true accent.
Nina would like to know, if you two met as children, do you think you'd still be best friends?
Ooh. No.
I don't know. Maybe?
Maybe. I think as we might have been too similar as children. In a couple of ways, and too different in others.
Yeah.
And as an adult, you kind of like embrace that and actually love it.
Oh, right.
But as a kid, I think you don't know how to like engage with that. Because when we're different, it would feel kind of like what.
As a child, you're not like, I appreciate the differences.
No.
You bring something new to the table.
Yeah.
It's more like, why are you like this?
Yeah, exactly.
Idiot. Right?
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it. But let's say we had been neighbors. So then at that, like, then it's kind of built in. It doesn't matter if you're different.
Oh, then yeah. Then I'm sure we would have been friends. And, I mean, I think I liked almost everyone when I was a kid. I just didn't spend a lot of time with anyone because I was always doing things by myself.
Yeah, okay.
But I liked people. I didn't not like them.
Yeah, I pretty much got along with everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it was never like, it's generally for me, I never wanted to be in any like queen bee position.
Yeah.
But always generally like kind of like well liked and got along. I liked being funny. You know, I liked fucking around in class.
Yeah, I was never funny. But I was, you know,
Maybe
definitely.
you fucked around in class a little bit?
I definitely fucked around in class.
There you go, that's all
But
it
because
takes.
I would like bring my snakes in my pencil
That would have
case
been really cool.
and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that maybe we would have gone on a little adventure. Kind of, I feel like we do that now.
A little bit.
Where I'm like, Karen, come to this jungle with me. And she's like, okay.
Sure. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything once.
Everything is yes. Yeah. It's great.
Yeah, so there you go.
What about in college? That's not Nina's question, but...
I would have been very drunk and you would not have been.
Yeah, I don't drink, so I would definitely, probably, again, I think we would have liked each other.
Oh, I
just
actually
don't-
had friends that didn't drink too.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Right. I think we would have really liked each other. I
Yeah.
just don't know that we would have become friends because we wouldn't have been doing the same things, or we wouldn't have been having a lot of one-on-ones, maybe.
Maybe
I don't
the
know.
Spanish, like speaking Spanish might have been something.
That was pretty immediate. Yeah, that was like a very quick,
Like,
the ability to be able to switch to whatever was huge.
Yeah.
I might have found, like, Karen strikes me as someone who was always very cool, probably in college.
Cool.
And I think to me that probably would have been scary.
I don't think there was like a real cool, because UCLA was gigantic. So there was no kind of like societal breakup into like little like cool kids. Well, there were football players for sure, but I mean at that level of football, it's a whole other world. You know, like And everybody else, not really. I liked to party. That's
Yeah.
kinda...
I think I didn't. To me, partying was like going to the zoo.
Yeah.
It really was. Like, I would just go to the club or the bars, and I would go because I'm a very social butterfly type of a person.
Mm-hmm.
But it was by midnight when everyone was drunk, I'd be like, okay, this is my cue. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go home.
I was very anti, like Greek system really wasn't for me, because I generally don't
like the sororities and stuff?
Yeah, like I don't like
Yeah.
clubs or groups.
Yeah, that's true, like collectives.
Yeah, I just didn't, it didn't make sense to me that I'm like, oh, now I'm in this group and now we're all friends. I'm like, ew,
Yeah.
by a decree sort of thing, like we're all sisters, and I just didn't get that. I did have a couple of friends, one was Japanese and one was Mexican, and they wanted me to infiltrate.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're gonna go in there and you're gonna tell us all about it. But ultimately it was unnecessary because our next door neighbors were, and they were like perfection sorority girls, and all we had to do was put our ears up against the wall and listen to them plotting against other sorority sisters.
Oh my god.
I was like, I'm not gonna... First off, seems like a nightmare,
Yeah.
because you're also putting yourself in a position to be judged. And, like, I don't think I was cool in that way. Like, those girls all, no joke, were wearing platform keds and, like, little pearls and, white t-shirts. And at the time, it was, like, cool to wear, like, this kind of beigey, kind of khaki-looking skirt. Looked a lot, actually, like my Catholic school uniform.
Yeah.
Felt really lame. But they all were trying to look like each other, and I thought that was so bizarre.
Yeah, that's always been bizarre. We don't even have sororities. So
Yeah.
it's this bizarre,
It's
kind
bizarre.
of American movie
Yeah.
trope to me.
Yeah.
That's completely
And you're like taking
American.
on the personality traits of like other people. It's
Yeah.
like, it felt fucking strange to me.
Yeah. So I think like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Maybe
the
that.
short answer is probably like, I think across the board, we would have liked each other.
Yeah.
But I also think circumstances made a lot of our, at least my friendships back then.
Yeah.
Where it's like, is this a person that enjoys doing the things that I do, and are we going to spend a lot of time together? Then we'd probably become friends.
Yeah. Honestly, proximity too.
Yeah.
If you lived on my floor.
Yeah.
If you were friend, like my best friend from high school went to college with me, so her friends kind of became my friends.
Right. Yeah.
So that's it. That's why you just have fun wherever you are. Next.
Ryan wants to know, what draws you guys to a project? Christina for acting, and then both of you guys for like development, producing, things like that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll answer for acting, and then you
Sure.
can just kind of take over for QE in general.
Okay.
I would say for acting, I like things that I can't quite just figure out at first glance. I like high-level competence in my characters. It doesn't matter what it is. I can go through the list, and whether it was a helicopter pilot or a drug dealer, it didn't matter, but they were very good at what
skilled.
they did. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were somewhat confident in that skill. Whether or not as a person, but they're definitely very confident in that. They tend to be people I admire in qualities that I want, or I feel like I can tap into. And then I love, projects that are well written, which tends to be underwritten a lot of the time. And nowadays, just ones with people that I like involved. I think right now, whether I take a project or not, comes down to, do I think I'm going to like the people involved? Do I love their artistry, their personality, their work ethic? That makes a world of a difference.
Yeah. And before I answer that, I feel like, especially coming out of the pandemic, where you just have grown really accustomed to not being around almost anyone.
Yeah.
Suddenly now the idea of being around many people, if you're not excited by those people,
Yeah.
No, I don't want to say blow my brains out, but I just did. That's
Yeah.
not what I meant. But it's the expression. It's a terrible one. Moving
Yes.
on. So,
Yes.
QE, usually what we're trying to do is something with, say, intelligent women.
Yeah.
We want to see more of that. Decisive, kind of dynamic, all those words. We would like them to be somewhat like us in some respect, like Spanish speaking in some way, shape, or form. And we have this concept of incidental learning, kind of backdoor science, or just general kind of educational, in the sense that you watch whatever it is we've made and you're smarter at the end of it. Or you know something new, or something's caught your attention and you want to learn more. That's what we hope that every project has. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do kind of make a special note of, because when you use the word educational in the industry, it kind of has this very either Sesame Street or documentary or whatever kind of like, heft to it. And what we talk about, my favorite example is always District 9. District 9 is a fantastic movie, super entertaining, sci-fi about these like space cockroaches, and it's brilliant. But really what it is the story of the director and his childhood during the apartheid in South Africa. And so you get all this context, you get the emotional journey, you get all of that. But at the forefront is entertainment. So it's not something hitting you over the head and being like, here's some statistics and here's what you need to know and here. So we love that.
Yeah. That's I'd say our goal.
Yeah.
So entertaining, of course. But, and again, if you come out of it and you can have a great discussion and you feel like you know a little bit more about the world or whatever specific topic, great.
What do you think is an example of something like that other people bring up, other than the only one I can think of, and we talked about this recently too, is Black Mirror?
Yeah.
That tends to be the one that people associate with thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Because it is.
It's its own brand,
It's so great.
Yeah.
But what's another example that maybe other people or in the general kind of population people would say? I'm just curious now, that just occurred to me. What...
God, this is dark. I thought Mindhunter was really cool.
I haven't seen
I don't know
it.
about
I
its accuracy in the about like the development of the concept of the serial killer. But I mean, I want to believe that it's real. It's fascinating. I know more about serial killers. God, maybe there's a brighter subject that we can lean on. That's the first one that came up in my mind. But there's got to be...
What about, Jess, do you think can you think of anything?
Oddly enough, the first thing that came to my mind was Handmaid's Tale.
Okay. But it is thought-provoking.
It's more fiction, but very thought-provoking.
Yeah, definitely.
Women's rights and...
Yeah. It's more of a social issues and, things like that. And ethical, moral, like all that, but definitely thought-provoking. What's the next one?
Within the same question was also, what are your biggest challenges in the business? Whether it be in development, in acting, and with QE. Either one.
Maybe sneaking in those things.
I think...
When you announce that you want it as part of it, like you said, people may...
preconceived notions of what that means and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think it's hard to explain things that haven't necessarily been done a lot, because it's hard to pull examples. And so sometimes I think, as much as Hollywood claims to be an industry that prides itself on like novel, new, groundbreaking, the reality is the industry on a whole as a business does tend, that's why we have all the sequels and like franchises and all that. It's because it has a built-in audience that they think is going to go and watch. And I think that sometimes trying to define something where they're like, okay, give me some comps, give me some other shows that have done it before. And it's very hard to come up with them. That's, I think, one of the biggest challenges.
Right. You have to say, hey, here's a new thing. It's going to make you money.
Yeah.
And they're like, prove it.
Yeah. So that's always a little bit tricky. I think, what else? Breaking any kind of trope is hard, especially when people have them built in their head. So if someone thinks of Hispanic or Latin character, they have an image of what that looks like, of what that is. For us to come in and say, hey, neither of us look the way you imagine, neither of us sound the way you imagine, neither of us speak the way you imagine when you think of that, whatever you're thinking of, because we've only seen 2 or 3 type of those roles and characters or stories in the media. And there's 2,000 or 3,000 different ones. And that's always hard.
We have a project based on a true person who does buck a lot of those kind of stereotypes, and we would love for that project to get made, but it seems to be you kind of have to keep readdressing how different she is all the time, right? Like, isn't that weird? She's actually really smart, and they're like, different. Like, what are we gonna do with that?
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know how to place it, and it's like, do you know how many smart Hispanic and Latin women there are doing these things? How many well-educated, how many, like confident, how many...
They do exist, but somehow there's a challenge in
imagining them
imagining how it might be on screen. Yeah.
So that would be a challenge.
What about doing a podcast? What's challenging about doing a podcast?
Oh,
Our
geez.
producer is just
Right? I was like, ugh, she
just
really.
man, ball busting. I mean,
But I mean,
she is a redhead, so
right?
Yeah.
No soul, isn't that right? How's that
Supposedly.
feel? How does that feel? Can we turn the tables?
Yeah.
Just kidding. I actually have, besides our lovely producer here, a really great redhead friend, and I'm firm. I believe she has a soul. So that's good.
no empirical evidence to support your statement, but just you have
Well, she
the
tells me
feeling.
she does, and she supports a lot lot of really great causes. So I feel like maybe
she must.
She's okay, right?
No, I think the podcast. I think what's difficult about the podcast for someone like us, because we don't have guests, which I think is a built-in novelty, right?
Yeah.
Every week you have a new person. You can just make them do the work by asking a couple questions.
Yeah, I mean, they're the draw, and I'm like, oh, we're the draw?
Right, we're not. So we have to come up with these things, and we're like, well, what do we come up with?
Yeah,
And
we
what
just
do
really hope that it's whatever we talk about, then you talk about that later too.
Yeah,
You know,
and that
that's
you enjoy hearing different opinions that maybe, you know, we can bring to the table. We play devil's advocate with each other all the time.
all the time. Yeah, this is actually a much more kind of happy-go-lucky version of our usual conversation.
Yeah.
Not to make it sound like we go at it, but like
We do.
well, I mean, not exclusively.
No, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, but it's that thing for us, like, we are so similar in certain things.
Right.
That we will play the role of the opposite end of that. Even if we do agree as people, sometimes just to explore and dissect it.
At the end of it, I don't even know what I believe half the time.
Yeah.
Because
sometimes we're so different that we just built in, we kind of see how we can come at it from different points. So it's a really nice, we like it, but when we're talking in Spanish around non-Spanish speakers, a lot of the time, I think they think
it's
we're
getting
arguing.
Hostile, right?
Yeah, we're not. We love each other, and it's
Fine.
not hostile.
It's fine. Yesterday we were
But
talking
yeah.
about like whatever some tribes and their
death
view of
and-
death, and I was like, I am not convinced. I'm like, a sense of loss is sadness. Anyway, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about you, Jess? What is the biggest challenge of producing us in a podcast?
How annoying are we? Time.
Keeping us on time. Oh, she's like,
No, I'm kidding. I'm
she's
totally
like,
kidding.
she's been doing this for 10 minutes. We don't know what that means.
She's gonna
Just
have
wrap it up.
Could that give you some sort of like tendonitis or something from
Carpal tunnel syndrome. Yeah. So
We'll
you
give her
guys,
a little sign. Let's make her a sign. She'll be like 5.
Yeah, 5.
That'll be cute.
4. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in again and sending us your questions.
Yes.
We always like engaging with you and, hearing from you. So comments and questions, always welcome. Let us know. And we will talk to you again next week. Ciao.
Ciao.